Alrighty folks, welcome on board. So before I start my little history spiel, let me introduce you to Kenny. Say hi to Kenny.
Hi. Hello, Kenny.
Hi, Kenny.
Hello, everyone.
He's our van driver for today, but not only that, he's also a tour guide himself. So if you have any questions and I can't seem to answer them, Kenny knows a lot. He for sure can. So, but coming on in, y'all see Jim Beam everywhere, James Beam plastered all over our walls. It does not start with him. It starts 3 generations back with a Jacob Johannes Boom, born in 1760. His name is Americanized into Jacob Beam as we know him today, our first master distiller. More importantly, he moves down from Maryland to Kentucky. He lands in Hardin's Creek, where Marion, Nelson, and Washington counties meet in 1785. And from there, Jacob starts growing corn. But little did Jacob know, corn grows good here in Kentucky, just way too good. So now with all of his excess grain just laying around, Jacob distills his first whiskey 1795, our first ever whiskey transaction recorded in our Jim Beam history. But for Jacob Beam, this whiskey making was just a hobby for him, just a little thing to do on the side. But for his son, David Beam, he notices his hobby of his father's turns into a full-fledged business, establishing our first brand ever, Old Tub. So before Jim Beam existed, it was Old Tub we were making. David Beam then passes his business on over to David M. Beam. His son, David M. Beam, takes over that Old Tub brand of his father's, takes it national, taking advantage of 2 brand new technologies of his time, the railroad and the telegraph. The same railroad coming to this distillery here in Clermont, Kentucky. So if you're keeping up, if David had a son named David, that probably means David had a son named Larry. And that would be such a good guess. Larry, too. But his full name comes in, our namesake, Jim Beam himself. So, full name, James Beauregard Beam. Pretty fancy. He walks in the door at a very unfortunate time. First comes World War I. Then comes Great Depression right after, and hit it home with Prohibition. 1920, it was enacted, lasted 13 years. And Jim Beam, a huge rule follower, did not distill a single drop of fluid throughout those Prohibition years. But he tried 3 other things instead. First, he went out to Florida. He tried out citrus farming. But y'all can probably take a good guess. Have y'all ever heard of Jim Beam orange juice before? Yeah, that's because it didn't pan out too well. He comes back here in Kentucky, tries out coal mining, but remember, he has Maryland roots, not Kentucky coal mining roots. So he has a lot of competition with our Kentucky coal miners. Last but not least, he comes here in Clermont, Kentucky, he settles on this property, comes with it an old Murphy Barber distillery, and it's already come abandoned, also a limestone rock quarry on that same property. That's what he does, limestone rock quarrying throughout those Prohibition years. Keeping in mind, he has this abandoned distillery, and maybe someday Prohibition would come to an end, he'd get that distillery up and running again. Lucky day came. 1933, Prohibition was repealed. He got his old Murphy Barber distillery up and running again in just 120 days. Run down, abandoned, not distilling anything for over 13 years, up and running again in just 120 days. Jim Beam, he did this at the age of 70 years old. That's why his name is all over our walls today. That's just the first 4 generations along our Beam Made Bourbon tour, but we got another 4 to talk about. Before I mention any of them, let's get some bourbon in those glasses. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Good job. I was thinking of my buddy. I was thinking this is hard for him.
Yeah, it is.
Oh. Yeah. So good.
Alright, y'all. Welcome on in. Feel free to take as many pictures and videos as you wish along our tour. We have nothing to hide here at Jim Beam. But as mentioned on that bus, let's get started with our first word of the tour, so get your brand, our global top seller, coming in at 80 proof, aged for 4 years. It's going to be here, our standard Jim Beam white label. Tastes just like college, but the difference is, in college, you weren't tasting your bourbon, you were just straight up drinking it. So today, I'll teach you how to probably taste like a master distiller. So as soon as it lands in your glass, just hold it for a second, all right? There you go.
Huh?
Of course.
Cheers.
Of course. Just a little bit. There you go. Of course.
Cheers. Santé.
Alrighty, folks.
Cheers.
So, go ahead and give a cheers, a little cheers.
Cheers.
There you go. And then let me teach you how to properly taste, alright? Is this your first sip of bourbon of the day?
Yes.
Alright, let me teach you. So the first thing is do with that glass. You're going to hold up to light, you're going to take a good look at that color. You'll notice it's a nice little yellow, pretty light color. That is the bourbon. Slightly aged for less years, and likely coming in at that lower proof, 80 proof right here. After you get here, you get a nose, you wave that glass in front of your nose, you keep your lips parted, your mouth open. That way those alcohol molecules don't burn inside your nose, they escape out your mouth. So you need to keep your mouth open when you take in those whiffs. It'll also smell entirely different that way. After taking in those whiffs, you have to take your first tiny sip, just enough to coat your tongue to affirmate your palate. Just a little tiny sip of that. Then after that, you use called the Kentucky Chew. It's a really important step. It goes like this. There you go. When you see somebody at the bar and they're just going at it, leave them alone. They're experiencing their bourbon. After the Kentucky Chew, now you can go ahead and return to that bourbon for the second or final sips. It should go down much smoother. Go on ahead. Kampai.
Kampai. Santé.
There you go. Salud. That should go down much smoother. But maybe you're feeling things right now. Maybe you feel that nice sensation from the liquor just right there. That's called the Kentucky Pug. You're going to be here today. Alright, folks. So, as I was mentioning on that bus, Jim Beam, he does all this limestone rock story throughout his prohibition years. Of course, when prohibition came to an end, he didn't just toss all his limestone away. We use it right here for our Kentucky limestone filtered water, and this here is our step one of start bourbon. It already has at least 3 attributes. 1, with those draft there iron is more on our bourbon. 2, it's going to be high pH, which helps that fermentation process. And 3, it's also high in calcium content. These bourbon I finished my first bottle in Japan just recently as well. But for this Jim Beam Black Label here, it's a great go-to bang for your buck bourbon. It's only $26.99. So you're not paying that much extra for that quality and that age right there. It also pairs really nicely with a Coca-Cola. A nice refrigerated Coca-Cola and some Jim Beam Black would do really well for me right now. Welcome upstairs. So, before we enter into this fermentation room, we do have a couple more rules. If you look down right now through this metal grating, you see straight to the floor, right? And here you'll see down another 2 stories. Not only are these tanks wide, they're also super tall. Just stay on the black path so you can't see the floor, but it's not so scary, and just follow me. Second rule is if it looks hot, please don't touch it. You could be steam cleaning our tanks and we don't want to get you accidentally burned, alright? Last rule is take in huge whiffs. You'll smell sweets, you'll smell sours, from bakery bread all the way down to really sweet banana. Follow me.
Oh, so sweet of you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
As part of our small batch collections. The small batch means that what you already tried, Jimmy Black and Jimmy White, married together 1,000 more barrels at a time. These here are going to be 200, 300 hand tasted, taste tested, hand selected barrels from those warehouses. And it's these that bring about the bourbon boom in the 90s. And it was our sixth master distiller, Booker Hill, who did just that. But remember where we last left off? It was question. Did we spill any?
A lot.
We didn't spill any.
No.
We didn't spill any. When you head back, just tell them we didn't spill any.
Okay.
Congratulations, you get to keep what's on your
Some will love it.
pull tab on top. That's gonna basically break open that wax once you get it back on. We're gonna do 2 dips into the wax. First dip puts coat on it, seals it up. Second dip's gonna thicken it up a bit. Faucet, it's gonna harden up and cool down that wax to the weight. It's also causing the top. One last final tip for you personalize.
Alrighty. Is that Ray? Yep. Alright. 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3, and out. There you go. Alrighty, folks. Give a hand to our 2 line workers. So I'll drop these bottles off at that first 4 cash register. That's where you pick them up. Just tell them I was on the Clermont tour. Here's what's on my sticker. I'll get you checked out right there. You probably just say I was on the Clermont tour, and they'll know exactly what bottle it is. It's the only one.